This will be a brief demo of Visier's MCP server working alongside Claude, which is Anthropic's AI client. The reason we are showing this is it demonstrates how you can leverage MCP server to access Visier's people data model and get insights and metrics dimensions out of it um, into an external agent. So this is directly calling an MCP server that then passes on into the data model to acquire the relevant metrics and dimensions and insights and pulls that back to the agent, all without connecting directly to your APIs. Um, and so what this means at the enterprise level is instead of having to connect and create a single integration for every single agent you bring into the system, you could connect them to MCP server, like Visier's MCP server, and multiple agents can interact with the data in the same way using a common language. So let's get us started and see how this works in the Claude environment. If I go to the tools available to me, you'll notice that I have connected Google Calendar as a tool that Claude can use, but also Visier's MCP test server. If I open up the server, it shows me all the tools that the MCP server has access to. So when I ask a question, these are all the actions or things that it can do and look for on my behalf, or I should say on the agent's behalf. And effectively, each of these tools is connecting to several different APIs or different parts of the data model to answer the question. So let's show how this works in real life. If I wanted to ask who are my top 10 sales representatives with the biggest sales opportunities, I can do that here and ask for Claude to use concise language to deliver the results so it doesn't give me a super long verbose answer. When I hit go, the first thing it'll do is the language model will parse my question to get the intent and context such that it knows how to query the MCP server and knows what to ask it. And if you wanted to, you can open up these windows and see exactly how it's reasoning that through. The next step it's going to do is, now that it understands my question, to start searching for a metric, which is one of the tools I listed earlier. So it knows that sales opportunity is the thing I'm trying to get a metric for. It finds it, and the next thing it'll do is find the opportunity value metric. It successfully gets that. And last but not least, it's getting the sales rep dimension and aggregating all of those values to get the cumulative pipeline value for each sales rep, which is great. But that was a pretty basic people and data question. So let's ask it something a bit more complex. In the sake of time, I won't show it reasoning through the question. You'll just have to trust that I did the same process in each of these steps. So maybe I wanted to ask, what is the resignation risk of my top sales employees? Because I don't want to expose my business to the risk of them leaving. It's a bit more complex. It requires asking for drivers and and asks for different reasoning than their original question. But the cool thing is that it builds on top of the original question. So I asked this first, and now I'm asking about resignation, and it does the same thing. But this time it's giving me a nice concise answer, breaking down my high, medium, and low risk employees. But maybe I want to take up the recommendation here at the bottom where it says consider immediate retention strategies for my critical performers. So maybe my first action would be to schedule one-on-ones with them, but I'm not really sure if I have any set up. So maybe I'll ask, hey, do I have any upcoming meetings with these at-risk sales representatives? And this time, what the Claude interface will do is query the calendar tool instead of the MCP tool, because again, it's interpreting my question correctly. It's sending me to the calendar tool, reading through my upcoming meetings, and it catches that I have a one-on-one with Anthony and Philippa, but not with Liam. And so it gives me some advice here that I should probably consider scheduling a follow-up meeting with Liam as well, given that he is one of those at-risk employees. Last but not least, one thing that Claude is quite good at, and maybe other tools can do as well, this is just one example, is it can create what they call interactive artifacts. So maybe I wanted to create a dashboard that shows the drivers of my retention risk. And maybe this is something I share with my colleagues so that instead of reading this whole long chat, they can get a digestible dashboard artifact for them to review. I asked Claude to do this on my behalf. And if I keep going down here, sorry about the scrolling, um, here is my interactive artifact. It does this. If I wanted to flip over to the code, it basically created this using its own logic, and it built like basically a very lightweight app using its own knowledge. But it ends up looking like this. Yes, it's a bit garish. Yes, it's quite colorful, but ultimately it was a very fast and easy way to have a natural conversation that ultimately ended up with a dashboard artifact that illustrates the drivers of risk for my sales team. It also even provides an immediate action plan, some suggestions for me to follow up with my at-risk employees. And given the risk drivers that I identified earlier, some things that I could consider discussing with them, including compensation, recognition, and bonuses. So from top to bottom, what we just saw is how in a non-Visier agent, in this case Claude, you can connect to MCP server to get people data, leverage other tools or MCP servers, such as the Google Calendar tool, and then use that information to create a dashboard, all without even logging into Visier. So this is agent agnostic. It's a tool that we can leverage in different ways. And it means that we're getting ourselves prepared for the agentic enterprise, where we want to have flexibility and ease of use at the top of mind.